There we go. It's all calmed down. Missed the island. We landed in the ocean. So the parachutes are still too hot to deploy. Another successful away mission. I really should change that. I like how the lights stay intact. The lights and the ladders come back with us. Like, how would they not burn off? That's just crazy. Shebin looks a bit concerned, whereas Sigray looks really happy. He's like, I can't wait to get back to the lab and study all this science data. He keeps flapping his arms. Look, he's so excited. Next time, hit the stage button when the parachutes aren't red. They auto-deploy. They didn't last time. I hit them and it didn't deploy when it got to 1,000 meters. It just kept going. I don't know why. Biome water. I don't think there's anything we can get from this. How much do you reckon we got? I reckon 800-900-ish. That's going to be my guess. You reckon a K? All right, we'll see. We may have broken a K. I mean, we did go to two new places. Wow. Did not expect 1,455. I was saying we need about 1,600, and somebody in chat said there's no way you're going to get that from Mimbus. Last time I went, though, I got 1,600. This time we went 1,400. That's 3,000 science grinded just for Minmus. That's insane. Total science 1,900. And the best thing is we get free science, don't we? Because we've now got, if we accelerate time now, that number should go up. When we stop it, I think. Is it when we stop it at updates? I can't remember. Like the moon and Minmus are sending science data back. Save it. Minmus grind. Done. More or less. Right then, so now we can get some useful things, particularly the composites, which gives us all kinds of structural panels, tubing, you name it. And then this one here, which gives us the multi-point connector, along with the Clampotron docking port. So if we want a space station, we need that, which we now have. And then what else was we going to get? I think that was it for now. Large volume containment. Inflatable airlock. I'm trying to dock, and that last small distance is just too far. This adapter has been patented for extra portability to fill the gap. Specialized control. Advanced reaction wheel. Solidified monopropellant tank and a Vernot engine. Nothing exciting there. What's this stuff? Advanced metalwork. Nuclear engine. Can we get the rover parts? What, this lot? It's 550 science just to get the large wheels. It depends what I want to do next. Like, you know. Do you want to go to Juno and get more science? Do you want to build a space station? Do you want to build a rover and drive around and get more science? Because Juno's quite an expensive place to get to, if I remember. I think you need like a 3-stage rocket just to get there. Space station sounds cool. Don't forget, to do a space station will be a multi-lift, because what you got to do, you've got to take up the initial piece, which has this bit that I wanted, that. So you take up like a long section with that on it, and basic batteries and maybe a crew quarter. Then you've got to deorbit. Then you've got to send up another mission, which then will have maybe solar arrays or something, radiators sticking out, and then you send another one up, which maybe has, I don't know, transmission towers on it. And then maybe another one with fueling. I mean, Bill Jebby Space Station. And all along, I've got to remember how to dock. So, yeah. It's been a while. It's been a long time since I practiced, you know, matching orbits, transferring up to a station. Need a reusable spacecraft. We don't need it because we're not in career mode, necessarily. Yeah, a lab station would be good. Charlene, thank you for 11 months. So I reckon we can probably reuse the Brighton lifter and just repurpose it. You would need rovers for when you go to the moon. Yeah, we can do that later, though. Advanced Science Tech. What's this lot? The Convertitron. Oh, this is the stuff for making fuel, isn't it? This stuff excites me. The idea of making a fueling depot on a planet sounds amazing. This even larger rover arm has 4 separate instruments, and we can't think what else they might add. Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. Big Trucker, thank you, 51. Ion propulsion. Ion propulsion is good when you're making small, like, orbiting probes and stuff. Like, you know, unmanned craft. Because they're really, really efficient. Like, really small amount. Look at that, like 2 kilonewtons thrust in a vacuum, but that fuel lasts a long time. Advanced unmanned techs. MacJeb rendezvous and docking. That sounds like something we need. If you want to get MacJeb to rendezvous, make life a bit easier. Remote guidance unit. Oh, somebody did a sub bomb. Mark644. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you for dropping 10 subs on the community. And if you just got one, please give him a thank you, guys. Thank you for the gift. A few new subs there and quite a few resubs. Welcome back, guys. Mark644. Appreciate that. Thank you. So the remote guidance unit allows us to control things without it being manned, which is pretty useful. And then the probable Bobodyne is a large probe core based on the popular Hex design with integrated battery bank, flight specialized controls, and built-in reaction wheel. See, that's a lovely part, that is. If you're doing an unmanned space station or a probe around the planet scanning stuff, it's brilliant. I think we'll research that. We'll get that locked in. What's this last one here? Large probe. Blimey. We don't need that yet. Automation. I think we've got enough for a space station type thing. Actuators. Oh, do you know what we could do? I thought I already had some rotation stuff. I'm sure I have rotation stuff. If we've got some actuator stuff going on, we could do crazy things on the space station. Not sure we need the winches, but the rotation servos. I think we've already got a lot like electric motors, so we could have, like on the station, we could have something that's spinning just to make it look like really cool. Like a spinning dish or a spinning aerial or... one of the categories have a pod, which is the same size as the one current in the Bright Mechanics person. You said that earlier, Larry. I know. You keep saying it, Larry. You keep saying that there's a pod that lets you carry 3 people. I know. But it wouldn't be a Brighton. We're going to have to rename it anyway, I think, if we change the launch vehicle. Make sure you have RCS fuel tanks unlocked. I'm pretty certain we have RCS unlocked. I remember unlocking it. Yeah, I remember doing it. I can't remember where it was, though. It might have been under advanced fuel systems. No. Metalworks. We don't need that. I'll save some science for now, just in case we need something in a minute. Just call it the Birmingham. Lol. Right. The first question we need to ask is, do we want the space station to be remote controlled or manned? Because that decides what pod we put on the top of this thing. Are we going to have it permanently manned by Jeb, or are we going to have it remote guidance? You want to man it with Jeb? Man to get rid of Jeb, oh my god. Alright. Let's see. So the giant one is something like that. Which is pretty big. But then we need to consider... One second. I need to figure out the size of... Oh, that's actually a lot smaller than I thought it was. Because this is going to be the pieces that stick out, effectively. Crumbs on the floor. Thank you for 21 months. That's huge, then. Maybe... Let's see... Minimum crew to operate is 1. Okay, that's fine. Thing weighs 0.8 tons plus passenger mass. That's fine. Well, I'm going to make the actual first launch, like basically the first part of the initial part of the space station is what I'm going to make. Probably do both. Well, we could stick a remote guidance unit on it as well, just so that people can actually leave it. There's a Mark 13 command pod like that, which is the size relative to that one. What does that one have? Electric charge 150, monopropellant 30, crew capacity 3, crew capacity 1. So that weighs a heck of a lot more. Electric charge monopropellant. It depends whether we want to have... Because we can always add crew quarters later, can't we? You just have one person in the command pod, basically. And then we just put a remote guidance unit or something. Command and control. Now, remote guidance unit, how big is that? One of the most complete command units available. Command unmanned remote pilot assist available. So if we needed to take Jeb out of there, that would allow us to still control it, wouldn't it, if we stuck that on there? If you have the command pod with a remote guidance wheel. I think. External command. Have you seen this? The external command set. It's like it's almost like a seat and some screens, and it allows you to like somebody to just EVA over, jump into that seat, and just fly the space station off. It's nuts. Okay, so we can put batteries on in a minute, can't we? How big are these things? What do we want the upper section to look like? That's the question. Do you have a heavy lift rocket? Well, I think we have a rocket that's going to lift enough. We'll see. We can just use the Brighton. We can use the Brighton to get it into sub-orbit, and then it needs to take over. We just need a final stage rocket that can take the payload and then detach from it effectively. Well, we're going to launch up an array of solar panels. All this will need for now is just some small kind of PV cells on it just to keep it going. I'm just trying to think what we want on this section up here. Do we want like a comms antenna, or do we want to bring that up later? Don't forget you can put small things in a service bay to make it look better. What, you mean like batteries and stuff? I like this guidance unit, I just don't like the fact that it's slightly bigger than that. Kind of annoys me. It's already filled it with 3 people. That's interesting. Don't think we want to fly 3 people up there, to be honest. Actually, we could take Jeb and Bill. Just leave the 2 of them there so you can do repairs and stuff. Jeb can do it. Well, he can do the flying, but if you need to repair anything or attach anything, you need to bring an engineer up. Whereas if you have Bill up there, you can just fly up there with some stuff and he can get out and fix it. And that means you can use a pilot to take stuff up, and then the engineer gets out and fits it all. Railworks, thank you for 20 months. I'm not branging. I'm not planning on bringing this back to Sim Games Fun. Right, let's think about some stuff. Maybe we can put like a comms communication thing on top like that. Com relay antenna. These are quite big, aren't they? I kind of want to put that stuff... I want to put that stuff on its own separate arm, I think. We have like a comms array coming off. Just trying to think about the design of this thing. Where's structural? Cargo. Service bay. These are huge, aren't they? That's not bad. Service bay with explosive doors. Do not open by hand. This is a cargo part that can be placed inside inventories. Interesting. These batteries are way too small. That's not bad. How much is in that? 1,000 electric charge. That's pretty cool. So you can have a couple of them. Lights. We need to remember lights as well. We don't want to forget lights. All right, Mrs. Frosty. Batteries on there. Coupling. Go nuclear. I don't have the nuclear engine unlocked. Why would we go nuclear? Dynamics. Where's the where's structural? Got all kinds of stuff here. Stack decoupler. No need for power. What does it run on? Nuclear engine is only good for in space for interplanetary. It runs on hopes and dreams. Yeah. So this is going to go down here shortly and form the main kind of hub, even though it's actually a bit small. I thought it was bigger than that. I can trickle charge it so we bring the main solar array up. Can we put an adapter between the parts and make it look nicer? Which parts though? Can you change the styling on the batteries? No. Always black and yellow, you can't paint them. Just trying to think about the top section here and what we want from it. Could actually, you know, do this kind of thing. Which has a smaller version of that. Octagonal strut. That's interesting. Where's that? Robotics. That's a rather flimsy connection. I was wondering if we can basically have something that just spins just because it looked really cool. Maybe put some lights on it. Look pretty wicked. Now the dish is going to go on the comms array, which will come later. This is just the initial core. That's the plan for this. This is the initial core of the space station. It will need RCS on it, though. Let's try... What does that one do? That's a bit better. Oh, there you go. How much power does that take, though? 5.6 per second. That could cause a bit too much power drain. Until we get the solar array online. Sell billboard space. Lol. Is that one aligned? I quite like that. Then you want to like taper into some antenna or something. Joint socket. There's nothing really small enough at this point. There's that. Rockomax node. What's all that about? Is the RCS on the command module just optics or does it work? It might just be RCS propellant. Reaction wheels active. Oh, maybe it does have some kind of reaction support in it. It looks like it does, actually. But it's not... it has propellant. Is it those nose... Maybe it's that there, actually. Maybe it does have RCS thrust from that. Communitron. It's a bit of a piddly antenna, isn't it? 500k range on it. Oh my god. High gain antenna. Retract. Oh, so that's what it looks like extended. Interesting. Because what I'm thinking is, if we just launch this a second. Admittedly, it's probably going to drain too much power. Looks like a shower head, lol. If you click on the engine here, RPM limit. You could do that kind of thing with it. Just have it pointlessly rotating because it looks cool. And if you put some lights on it, maybe some strip lighting or something like that, it would just look pretty pretty mad. For no good reason. But I am worried about the energy drain on it. Although it looks like it's keeping up with it. That power's not going down. Wouldn't a docking port be more useful? We haven't got to all the docking ports yet. RGB for extra horsepower, yeah. Now, if we go under lighting, is that under electrical? No, the strip lighting one. Oh, that's what we needed, the gigantic solar array. We've got that now. Yeah, that needs to go up on the second assembly, I think. Utility... strip light, there it is. Just have like multicolor RGB lighting just because we can. Blew the budget on the spinning antenna. Oh yeah. Alright, let's have 4 of them. What's the power draw on these? 0.3, that's fine. Now, can I choose them all separate color? No, they're all going to be a group, aren't they? I think you have to put them on individually just to choose separate colors. Actually, what we could do is just pair them up. Like a space fairground. If you want one set on one side. Something like that. Trying to click that. There you go. Test full speed at night. Oh my god. Are these disco lights heat proof? They'll have a shroud around them, don't worry. They'll be fine. That's kind of what it'll look like. Why do you want full speed, dude? It's not going to look great. It's going to look much better when it's like that. Admittedly, they're not particularly bright, these things. I think they're on max, though. You can have them flashing. If you want to have that true kind of... advertising billboard effect. Bicola. Although at night it does drain the battery quite a bit if you look at it. If you have them blinking though, it uses less battery, right? How annoying is that when you're coming into dock? You've got these like flashing red and green lights. The question is, can the battery last through the night? Should start in an off position anyway. Lights off. Okay, does that bit look good? Happy with that? Finally a streamer and not busy. Lol. I wonder whether to sink them in or not. It's a bit more flush. Okay, we need a name for this space station. Are we going to call it the Birmingham or something? Birmingham Station. Birmingham Station Top, we'll call it. Or just call it Birmingham Station because it is. It is the station. It's have MechJB, or does the pod have it built in? We don't necessarily need it on this bit. The vehicle that's taking it there, we need it though. So we'll have to add that lower down in a minute. But now comes the next bit of this. I'm looking at the see, I'm a little bit annoyed about this thing. The Rockomax. It's too small. I know what you used to do, I think, was use empty fuel tanks. Maybe there's a structural piece we can use instead. Structural fuselage, that's way too small. I used to basically grab a fuel tank. Like that, I think. And then you would rotate it. That. Also, you need to empty everything out of it. And then do another one coming this way. That's about right, doesn't it? We also build another one. Just to give it some space. And then I think you can put docking ports on this. There's like a docking, is it that one? Is that... Oh, don't you have to get these the right way around? I remember this. I can't remember which way they have to face. Which way is in and which way is out? Disable crossfeed. Now is right. So you reckon that's the correct way? Because if you get that wrong, you can't actually dock to the darn thing. Do we think that then? Which side has the handle? The handle's on the outer edge. There's a little handle there. If you flip it round, it's like that, you see. There's no handle. Does the handle go on the outside or the inside? I can't honestly remember. That's correct, you reckon? I don't know if I need to like strut this in any way. you're going to have some big thing to dock to it. Well, the thing that's going to dock to it is the next pieces. It's the other pieces that are going to connect to it. Unless we have some other section that has a smaller docking port. Like, the idea of this is that we can connect other pieces to it later, right? So we bring another piece in and basically clamp it to that, which is like another section of the space station. That's the idea. Will you be able to use them seeing as how the fuel tanks? Use them in what sense? You won't be able to, like, go through here and come out of there, I don't think. Yeah, so, like, one side will build out... We'll have to come in later with, like, a solar array. So we'll have, like, a large section here with solar panels that go that way. And then over here, we could have, like, a communication array with antennas on it or whatever. I don't know. And then we can have, like, a science section here. And then maybe on this bit, maybe that's, like, future. We can bring up a longer section later and just make it bigger. Yeah, the habitable stuff is, what is it, crew quarters? Inline crew cabin. They're quite small, aren't they? What's that one? Processing lab. So that would clamp onto it, for example. There are living tube units that you want to use, but how do I get the cross section then? So later on, we'll basically bolt that to it later. One of them still has fuel. Is it? Don't think so. None of them do. Or if you use a tube instead of a first fuel tank so that you used to make it longer. Yeah, but I don't understand what you mean. So we can't make it so that you can transfer through this thing because we've got two pipes clipping through each other, right? You would need a section like this. But then the biggest one we have was that one. The Rockomax, which is tiny. I don't know, Butler. I've not seen one. I've not seen one that big. If we put if we put that there, which we could, what you mean send it up initially? I don't know if we're gonna have enough. Hang on. It depends how heavy this thing is now. We could do that if that's what you mean. It's probably a lot more weight because that thing probably weighs quite a bit, doesn't it? That weighs 3.4 tons. That's a lot to send up in one go. Yeah, you can't go through this. That's the point. The smaller hub has the plus sign outwards. Yes, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, he's right. You know, that has the plus sign facing out. So surely that should be like that. you sure the handle doesn't go inside and it sits like that? I've got some mods, but nothing that changes the size now. How old is this game? Nearly 10 years. Version 2 is coming out next year, maybe. The handle goes outside. The handle has to be on the outside. Why then? Why then does it show you on this one handle not being on the outside? How does that work? Because it's not a dock. So this thing's a bit of a pain. I don't know if we can lift. That's a lot to lift on its own, right there. We'd now need another stage just with a fuel and rocket just to move that, and given the weight of that thing. Take the small one. What do you mean? The cross section still requires docking ports. It has docking ports. Oh, you mean the thing still? Ah, okay. You're saying that with that one, you still have to put docking ports on it. Interesting. So that's just purely structural. Oh yeah, docking ports sold separately. It says in the description. Well, Toothy Tubs, that looks correct then, doesn't it? Maybe we should stick some RCS tanks on it as well. I like reading the description, actually. Some little monopropellant tanks. Use the empty tanks for fuel to launch it, then empty them later. Would that even work, Vinyl Rabbit? I like your thinking. I don't know how Kerbal works. If I have fuel tanks clipped into each other, can I still fill them with fuel? I like your thinking. Just slap a rocket on the bottom and then detach it later. You could use the fuel connector tubes to connect. So if we connect that into that, yeah, but they'll stay unless. Hang on, let's test this. I know I can test it. If we stick a rocket on the bottom and see what it says. We did a good vacuum engine. Skipper. If you stick that on there, and then we'll have to put a mech jet component on it. Flamingo, what do you mean? Yorkshire Posted, thank you for 2 years, mate. Kerbal engineering system. Where are we going to hide this? Not having that sticking out. Why are we getting no data? I ain't got any fuel in there, have I? So that's 1800 delta V right there. If you fill that up, it does in fact go up. 3600 delta V. Not enough for us to lift it in Kerbin. Out of the atmosphere, it barely has enough thrust to move it. And that's basically the problem. That's basically the problem with trying to lift that at the same time. It's a heavy beast. $65 tons. I'm trying to work out why it's... I think maybe we'll have to not have this initially. Does make a huge difference. Where's most of the mass coming from? I think the mass is coming from the fuel, isn't it? I think maybe we just don't have all of them full somehow. That's 33 tons with just that one full. Yeah, but that's what I was suggesting initially. Like, I was just literally going to go up with just this bit, and you guys are like, oh, put this on, put this on. This is meant to be the final stage that gets itself... From sub-orbit, it just circularizes. That's what it's meant to do. And then the engine detaches. And then what you're basically left with is the core of the station. That was the plan. But there's no way that engine can deal with it. That will, but that'll drink the fuel probably. We just need to tune it. We need to find out if that's enough fuel for it to circularize its own orbit. Right, so coming off the bottom of this then, because what we want left is the docking port, and we need some kind of coupling on it. The problem is that engine's going to float around. Like, when we detach the engine from this thing, that engine's just going to float in space, isn't it? In orbit. That's a bit of an issue. That center of mass will move up when this fuel burns out. Small tank used for deorbit, yeah, but this would need to be some kind of vehicle that we can This would need to be its own separate vehicle that we can deorbit. Separatrons can help deorbit. Well, yes and no. Like, maybe what we can do is give it its own mini fuel tank. So that... But will it burn this fuel? What you want is to have some fuel left in here. I guess you need a fuel line, don't you? You need to do that. When we separate that, I take it that will just break off. E-Boom, thank you for your host. Oh, the raid, sorry. Welcome, guys. Hope you had a good stream. Thank you. You can now stop the flow of the fuel in the small one and then activate it later. What do you mean? Why does it do that? Yeah, it's gone well, E-Boom. Thank you, mate. Where's remote? Commander control. So if then... Small inland reaction wheel. You kind of want this to be its own very tiny controllable thing, don't you? So you can just point it, burn, and it'll deorbit. Right click the small tank, then left click the green little arrows that disables the fuel being used. Do the same to re-enable it. Oh, so we don't need this thing at all. Will that engine still take fuel from here? Will that feed straight through? Didn't even know you could do that. Yeah, I need a way of this. This needs to be its own vehicle, effectively, in a way. So we need like a reaction wheel on it, that's really too small. And that's not exactly ideal either. Never mind, it won't feed it. Let's see what it does. Decouplers don't cross-feed. Right. Yep. That has no fuel. I'm not sure how it's going to get anything then. Because even if we cross-feed from here to here, it's not going to allow fuel to flow to the engine. Disable crossfeed. Enable crossfeed. What the? If you fuel line to the small vent, it will never run out of fuel. Well, according to this, we have no delta V stats. I don't think that works because the fuel's disabled. I think that tank won't allow fuel to flow through. I already did enable cross-feed on the decoupler. We just did that. I just right-click. You saw me right-click on the decoupler. Look, it's enabled. What's in staging, Larry? Wait, that's the docking. One sec. I thought I clicked the decoupler. What the heck's the... Maybe we don't have a separator on it. Decoupler. I don't have a decoupler. Apparently. Oh, it... I see. That thing. Enable crossfeed. Still on Delta V. Hmm. Let's try that.